So I am just 5 days out now from my first sub-16 5k attempt of the year. Hereford 10k last weekend was great. The workout on Tuesday was fantastic. Did a mediocre long run on Thursday. Now it's time for the last workout before we lock in and get ready for Wednesday. So what have we got on the cards today? We've got 3k tempo, 3k marathon effort I should say, and then a 2k at half marathon effort, and then 3 by a k at the end, around 10k effort. So today I'm working on all the supporting paces that I'm going to need to really build on to let me really maximise those 5k efforts to come in the second half of the block. The first half of the workout will obviously be quite controlled, and what I plan to do, I don't know if the sun is going to be in your eyes too much, I'm going to be starting right up at the back there, going along down there, swooping around, connecting onto the industrial estate, down here, up to the college, back down there, and then all the way, keep spinning you, and then all the way out to the end of the estate. That's going to be the first 3k effort. Then the 2k effort will be from that end up here to the college, and we'll finish back down on this road. That's when we're going to do a shoe change, slip into something a bit more fast, and then give us a little bit of a boost at the end to rip out those 3 by a k. There won't be many more of these workouts as we move into the second half of the block, but I will say that this is perfect temperatures today to replicate next Wednesday, because we've got a bit of a heat wave next week. Well, I say heat wave, between 16 to 20, which is obviously a big jump from what we've been having, and this morning is already about 14 or 15, so it's good to get used to it now. So here we are at the top of the estate. We're going to rock and roll. First 2 reps, the 3k and the 2k, nice and controlled. In particular, the first rep, the 3k, and then the last 3, I want to really give it a bit of a push, but nothing crazy. The race is in 5 days. Let's get on with this. Right, so just over halfway in this 3k rep. Breathing patterns was something that I mentioned in the last video, so have a listen to this. Ready? Here we go. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So I'm basically taking 4 steps for 1 in breath and 4 steps for 1 out breath. That's how I know I'm keeping it controlled. When I get to a 3-3 breath pattern, that's when I know I've stepped up. So when we talk about working by effort, I always find breathing patterns are a great way to determine things. So yeah, just about half a mile to go on this first 3k, 5:54 per mile, feeling good. There we go, breathing went to 3-3 coming up this last bit because it's uphill at the end of the estate, but for the majority of that it was 4-4, and that is a good gauge for me to know that my breathing is in a good place. So that was 5:50 something per mile, 2 minutes easy jog. The next rep will absolutely be a 3-3 breathing pattern. There we go. Who said that Evo SL can't shift? 5:40 per mile. It was 5:36 until I hit this bloody hill. But yeah, really good. Change shoes. Oh, these feel different. Let's get 3 by a k done. I paused the watch, so I'm just going to hit lap because we're going to go from here, and we've had over 90 seconds. 5:11 per mile. It was a 3:12 or a 3:13k. Damn, that was quick. That was a 3:08 or a 3:09. Jeez, one more to go. It's quick. Well, there we go. Did not expect that today. So that 3:07, 3:08. Gentle progression on those K reps. And the first one was just over 16 pace, and the other two were under. Wow, I knew I felt good on the first 2 reps because of the breathing, but I didn't think I'd pull those out of the bag. That's what happens when you change your shoes. And despite these ones in particular being as flat as a pancake, they still work really well. I've always said the geometry on these ones just favours me and my foot strike, and that's the beauty of changing shoes actually, because the Evo SL can really shift, and they do have a nice rocker on the end, but these are more aggressive, lighter, and yeah, they wowed me once again. I'm very, if I'm honest, in a bit of shock about that workout. So there we go, how about that? I'm very shocked. It's now Monday, so I've had a couple of days to kind of process that, but I just think back to last year when I was attempting to kind of run fast over the 5k distance, and some of the workouts I was doing started with like 2 by a K, 3 by a K, attempting goal pace, and then some like 400, 600s, 200, a variety of intervals after that. Couldn't get near 5k pace, or if I did, it was such a strain, such a push, and it either had a detriment to the rest of the workout, or I was just completely overdoing it, and I just wasn't in that shape to be trying to push around that 16 flat or 15:59 pace. But this time it just flowed, and it flowed really well. Those first couple of reps felt really good as I showcased the breathing. That's just something I wanted to get across because that's how I like to work. I think we've got all these gizmos and gadgets that we like to use, but ultimately we have to remember our bodies are the ultimate dictators of how we actually feel. So breathing patterns for me have always been a really important thing. So I hope that made sense. And then yeah, just to rip out those 1Ks at the end. I didn't expect that. So very, very happy. I did a workout like this, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think I was running like 320s per K or something like that. I really barely broke, I think 323 actually was the quickest. So very, very happy with that. On to Hereford. So I said in the video last week, I've got 4 5Ks in this training block. The first one, which is Hereford this week for me now, is going to be a line in the sand and then see where we are at that point. I wasn't particularly looking to try and go sub 16 there, just a low 16 would be good. And then from Battersea Park onwards, which is the 19th or the 18th, and then Hereford next month, and then the Safa 5K at the end of May. Those 3, I was absolutely going to go for it. I think the reality is I was never not going to try and go for it at Hereford, but I was pretty content in my mind just to get the first one done, as I said, draw that line. But I feel like the reality is I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to see what happens. I feel like the shape's there. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. That sort of course is an interesting one. I'll throw it on screen for you so that if you are a new subscriber and you did miss last year's video, that you can see kind of how it is. It's a decent loop. We do it twice. So it's a good, nice and simple course. There's no sharp turns. All of the turns are nice and runnable. You can flow through them and it's really good. The only sticking point with this course is the middle section as you come back through the finish line and go out the other side. There's about a 600 meter section, maybe a bit more of gravel tracks. So for me, I put the mile splits on the screen. The first one always tends to be the quickest for me, and you can see that's as we start, go out onto the road. There's a tiny little incline as you go out of the race course and up, but then you have a lovely gentle down to counteract that the other side, and then it's flat all the way through the estate. At that point, when we flip to mile 2, we come through the end of the estate and then back through the race course, through the finish chute and out the other side. That track there, that's the gravel track. That's where I always tend to lose a bit of traction. That has always historically been my slowest mile, and I think I've done this course 3 or 4 times now over the years, and then it depends how I've paced it as to whether I can pick it up in the last mile. So the last mile, as you can see there, is the second half of the estate and then back into the finish chute. I did all right last year. It ended up being first mile fast, second mile slow, third mile was the second quickest one. So I'm really, really happy, and I apologise as well. I know a lot of you work in kilometres. That's just, I'm stuck in my head with miles, so that tends to be how I work. So I know what I want to try and achieve on Wednesday. Obviously it's going to be sub 509, 508, 507 per mile pace. So that's what I'm going to have in the back of my mind. And to be honest, the weather looks absolutely stupendous. We've got beautiful weather right now. It's a little bit of a blip. I'm not sure what's going on. We don't usually get this in March. It should be nice and warm, 14, 15, 16 degrees. I'm not even going to complain about the heat. I'm just going to run and I'm going to enjoy it. I've wanted it all winter. Since going to Spain back in February and coming back here, I've just craved that warmer weather, so I just don't care. I want to go out and run in it. It looks to be a little bit windy and it looks to be going westerly. What that'll end up doing is playing in my favour for the first mile because we're heading that way and out into the estate that way. But then as I turn towards the end and come back through the finish chute, that's where it's going to hit us in the face. So if anything, we might have a quicker first mile and an even slower second mile, and hopefully be able to pick it up in the third mile. But otherwise, it looks to be perfect. So there's nothing more for me to say now other than to race. Really excited for this one, and I can't wait to bring you the next vlog, which of course will be the Hereford race vlog. So if you've enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you check out this one up here. This is the last workout I did, the Fast 200s. If you missed that one, that gave me a massive confidence booster getting into shape. And of course, if you want to see the Pulford 10K, if you missed that one, check out this video down here. That's the first time I managed to break 33 minutes running 32:56. And I'll see you guys over on one of those.